Okay, so after this fairly controversial chapter of One Punch Man, I decided let's kind of shift away from the controversial side of the chapter and look at something a little less controversial and a bit more hype in this recent chapter, which was Saitama's serious punch. And as you guys can tell by the beautifully crafted title of mine, you guys can tell that we're going to be talking about, Saitama's quote unquote serious punch in this video. And of course, this video might be again a little bit controversial depending on your stance on how strong you think Saitama's, quote unquote serious punch is. But of course, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because, from one look at my channel, you can tell I post a lot of One Punch Man content. And if you want One Punch Man content consistently in your YouTube feed, then this channel is 110% for you. But of course, let's just get into the video because I really want to talk about this topic. I know I say this every video, but I just want to talk about it. Now, first of all, let's just go over just how serious I think Saitama's serious punch is. And I feel like Saitama's serious punch, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really think Saitama's serious punch is serious, to be honest. I feel like Saitama's serious punch probably only takes up about maybe 10 to 20% of his actual full power. And you guys might be saying, oh, Saitama said it's serious, so it has to be serious. Now, let's just take a moment just to step back and just look at Saitama as a person. Does this guy really look like someone that always tells the truth? I mean, Saitama can probably say something and, mean a completely different thing. He's a pretty trolly character, and I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the series he just reveals that, oh, this serious punch, it actually wasn't serious. It was more like a normal punch, which I'm convinced that it probably is. I mean, I don't know what his normal punches would be then, because, if his serious punch is more like a normal punch, then wouldn't his normal punch be like a weak punch or something even below that? But anyway, that's for a completely different video. But of course, I feel like so far we've seen that Saitama has used his serious punch about 3 times in the series, if I'm not mistaken, and the first time he used it was actually against Boros. And this one was, I feel like everyone was pretty hype about this because Boros was claiming that his collapsing star roaring cannon was able to wipe the surface of the earth clean, which would essentially be a god level feat. And Saitama he performed a quote unquote serious punch for the first time ever, and I feel like at that point everyone was pretty convinced that this is Saitama's serious punch. And I feel like it was pretty convincing at the time because we saw that when he performed the punch, it completely repelled Boros' attack and completely dissipated it, and it also completely destroyed Boros's body and turned him to literal ash or something, I don't know. But he completely destroyed Boros with that serious punch, and he also did split literally a whole continent of clouds, which was again pretty impressive. But still, at the time, I was still a little bit cynical that this was Saitama's serious punch. But since everyone was hyping this up, and there wasn't much talk on whether it was actually serious or not, we were just hyping up the fact that he beat Boros and he used a serious move for the first time ever. But of course, then the second time came where he used his serious punch, and that was against Elder Centipede, and this was a lot less serious this time. I feel like this time he used more maybe even 5% of his full power, but claimed it was a serious punch because he punched Elder Centipede and yeah, it completely destroyed him. Elder Centipede literally dissipated. There was literally no trace of him after this serious punch, and it was very impressive. But I wasn't convinced it was a serious punch because I feel like it should have done a lot more damage. I feel like a serious punch from Saitama should be wiping half of the earth clean off, and it's just not doing that. It's not even destroying a continent. So I feel like this punch might not even be very serious at all. It might be as I said earlier in the video, more like a normal punch. I feel like, yeah, if Saitama, the one above all, was to perform a serious move, it should cause earthquakes around the entire globe. at the very least. But anyway, moving on. Now we go to the final time Saitama uses a serious punch, which is recently in the recent chapter 157, against Evil Ocean Water. And I feel like this was like not as impressive as the Boros punch, but more impressive than the Elder Centipede one. I feel like this one was more like, maybe I feel like Elder Centipede, the serious punch from Elder Centipede was like a 5% of Saitama's full power. I feel like Boros's one was more like 15%, maybe a little less. And I feel like this, Evil Ocean Water was maybe like 7-8%, maybe 9% or something. I feel like they do vary in terms of how serious they are, and they aren't really serious at all, since I'm assuming it's not even neutral. And of course, this move against not Elder Centipede, Evil Ocean Water, was very impressive. It was definitely very cool to look at. Personally, I was expecting a little bit more in terms of how this was gonna be drawn and everything, but it was still a pretty cool double spread. But I was expecting it to be a bit more epic, but I still trust Murata's judgment, and Murata knows best what to do, and won, of course. But anyway, moving on, time to go on to how strong I really think this is. As I said before, I think it uses about maybe between 5% to 20% of Saitama's full power, but I feel like maybe, Saitama's punches might actually be able to be put into the, above dragon scaling, etc. So I feel like maybe Saitama's serious punch might be around like high above dragon. So I may be saying like 80%, 85% above dragon in terms of just raw power, which is already like the best thing we've seen in the entire series. This is like easily like best feat ever in the series we've seen so far, above Boros, above Blast, above above Psycho Orochi, above everything we've seen. So of course, this is like gonna be up there. Like I would actually say it's more like 90% high above dragon, but I feel like this isn't Saitama's upper limit. Saitama can do way better than this, and I feel like he is going to show that later on in the series. And I can predict right now that Saitama later on in the series is going to be like, to, I don't know, whoever's witnessed his serious punch, like King or something, he'll be like, oh, this actually isn't a serious punch. This is my actual serious punch, and proceeds to like, I don't know, punch this crazy monster into oblivion. Maybe a monster later on in the series that's maybe established as God's disciple and is like a definitive god level threat, and then Saitama uses a serious punch and completely obliterates it, and proceeds to obliterate maybe a quarter of the universe at the same time, which of course would be very Saitama-esque. But apart from that, I feel like that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. I know this video was very brief, but I feel like when covering something as specific as a serious punch, it's not going to be too long. But of course, apart from that, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And apart from that, of course, I will see you in my next video. And if you haven't told a friend about One Punch Man, as I always say, please do, because One Punch Man right now is peaking.